Greetings! Here enjoying the late winter, mild weather in Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest here along the Redwood Nature Trail. It's about a 3/4 of a mile guided walk through apparently the northernmost stand of redwoods on the Pacific coast. Well, that's what the campground flyer says. I thought there were more redwoods farther north than this, but this is Curry County, the southernmost county in Oregon, and I thought there were redwoods up in Canada even, but okay, if they say, maybe they mean the Pacific coast of the United States. They didn't say that, so I don't know, but I love the redwoods, and I don't think I've been on this trail in a long, long time, so I thought, what the heck, come out here. There's all these beautiful rhododendrons and azaleas and all sorts of biodiversity, huckleberries, not just redwoods, myrtlewoods, and all sorts of cool stuff. Really, really pretty. And if you're going to come out here, it's pretty easy. It's, like 8 or 9 miles up the Chetco River. And it's just right off the pavement. You don't even have to drive on gravel. And normally there would be brochures telling you what all the little markers along the trail are, but there's no brochures today, so unfortunately I can't tell you what's what. I can tell you that my legs are burning because I don't hike anymore, because I have some sort of a neurological thing going on that's just making my nerves not want to respond to pretty much any stimulation. Sometimes the vagus nerve seems like it just decided to run away. So I'm sure you can guess what sort of symptoms I'm having with a vagus nerve dysfunction. It's pretty systemic. Ooh, my legs are really burning right now, and I'm really out of breath. So I gotta kind of go slow. It's a lovely little trail. And of course we're here in winter, still, early March, so it's, after the ants have gone underground for winter. I love to enjoy nature where I can just sit down, not worry about those stupid little things crawling on me. I hate ants. Some people's outdoor nemesis are flies or mosquitoes. Mine are ants. That's kind of the sort of a gimmick of the channel. There's always darn ants, and they always want to ruin your darn picnic. But not now. Ooh, there's the river. You can actually see the Chetco. Just a little peek of the Chetco out there. Gosh, you can't even see it from here. It's there. Trust me, that's the Chetco River. But Curry County is not just the southernmost county on the coast, and therefore has that claim to fame. And as being the southernmost county, it has the southernmost river mouth. I've taken you there, the Windchuck. It also has what was the largest Monterey cypress in the world. And apparently they found a bigger one down in California, so it's the second largest in the world, but it's a huge tree, and it's just down south of the town of Harbor, between there and the Oregon border. It's right next to the highway. You just pull right off. There's a museum. Pretty cool. But here, kind of off in that direction, I think that might actually be it, or is that it? Mount Emily is just over there. And if you want, you can go on a hike to the bomb site. What's the bomb site? Well, that's where the Japanese first struck our mainland during World War II. Just off Port Orford, the Japanese submarine surfaced in 1942, I believe it was. And they sent a catapult-launched Zero out here to drop a bomb in the woods and try and start a forest fire. It was too wet, so the fire didn't take. But it's an interesting piece of U.S. World War II history, and I guess these days some war trivia might be interesting to people. I'm certainly not one to enjoy war, but we should know our history. Obvious reasons, so that we don't keep doing it over and over, making those mistakes. But it was definitely kind of an interesting statement that they made when they just kind of showed up right off our coast and went, "Hi guys, watch this." But the statement that they made after the war was even more powerful when the soldier's family, the pilot's family, donated his sword, his battle sword that he had with him in the plane, apparently during the bombing run, to the local museum as a show of peace and respect. And that's just so moving. I almost get a little choked up. It's like, that's so much better than dropping a bomb You know, talk about a love bomb. You know, by all rights, you know, their honor should demand that they have his battle sword, you know, but the family decided to, you know, show that goodwill and that peace towards America to say, you know, enough war, you know, enough of this bloodshed. And I appreciate that. That's such a more powerful statement than any act of destruction. And I see a little too much of that along this trail. A lot of people trashing stuff, leaving garbage. You know, somebody painted on some rocks right next to the creek. I don't have any way of getting rid of it without, you know, just scraping the paint off onto the ground. So I had to leave it, but I did document it. It's pretty awful. Somebody would put paint on the rocks right in the redwoods, right next to a creek. I mean, I don't care if it's non-toxic. I mean, that's just kind of like, you know, are you trying to upstage the redwoods somehow? You think you can add to the redwoods with, you know, it looked like kid art, basically. It looked like, you know, somebody with, you know, a third grade mentality did it. And I'm like, you know, whatever parent let that kid do that, they set a pretty bad example. You know, by comparison, the idea of sacrificing your loved one's military honor in order to show, you know, that you desire peace and that you only want, you know, good from now on. I dare somebody to make that kind of a statement these days. Everybody's just so freaked out. But anyway, definitely an interesting place. Oh, this kind of winds around. I don't remember this trail being like this. But it's not a hard trail. You can see it's right next to the road here. So you're not very wild. You're not very remote. But one of the interesting things about the Oregon coast, besides the northernmost stand of redwoods, second largest Monterey cypress, there's also up on the Rogue River the largest myrtlewood, apparently. And it's a huge tree. I haven't seen it in a long time. I vaguely remember it being just huge around. I see we turn back this way. I see there's the Chetco. You see that greenish water. I guess we'll take a look at that. It's greenish. Or sorry, getting ahead of myself here. That myrtlewood, you just jump up the Rogue River off of Highway 101 at Gold Beach, and you cross the bridge at Lobster Creek, hang right up the gravel road, and there's signs for it. You can go hike up there. Should be an easy hike. That's what I was reading. It's another one I haven't been in a long time. I haven't been here in a long time. I don't remember the trail coming next to the road like this. See, they've done some clearing here. And I just actually came up just right down there. Because there's a river trail that goes to the campground where I just came from. Well, I guess we're still on the trail. There's number 3, so we're almost to the end. But so you've got some really big trees, not just redwood trees, but, you know, the myrtlewood. Oh, a big cliff right here. Look at that cliff. Jeez. What that's all about. And speaking of rocks and cliff, there's a reason why the Chetco River and the Smith River and the Elk River and probably even the Sixes, I don't remember being going up the Sixes in a long time, but I think it is the same thing. See that green? That's not what a river normally looks like unless it's full of algae. And there's no algae in this river. It's early March. And in summer there will be massive algae blooms. But right now, that's green because of the serpentine rock and the landscape that's upstream all through southwestern Oregon, northern California, and the Kalmiopsis wilderness. And it's fascinating stuff because the serpentine rock, I don't know if I've ever told you about that, it came from under the ocean. It used to be ocean floor. And so what was below now is above. And one of the cool things is that when a meteor hits the ocean, oh, there's a breeze. When a meteor hits the ocean, or an asteroid or something like that, a bolide, it hits the water and it cools off, and if it doesn't fracture or become destroyed, it sinks to the bottom and becomes part of the bedrock eventually. And you can find them in mines. And there's, I think it's called the Alta mine over in Northern California, just south of us here. And that's where one of those was found in a mine. Like, how do you find a meteorite underground in the rock as you're mining? That is just mind-blowing. So thanks to that, you know, once underwater, now above water, greenish tinge, there's some fascinating geology to be found. And of course, a lot of mineralization. And so there's gold and platinum and all sorts of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of mining activity out in these hills. Extensive. I mean, they were up and down every draw and every nook and cranny trying to find that mother lode. Whoa, look at that. That's a big cable. I don't know what that's for. Yeah, probably logging. That looks like something for hauling logs up. Could be a choker or a yarder or something like that. Big old cable. Almost to the end here. Whew. But it's kind of a worthy trail. Yeah, there's the creek again. There's the parking lot down below. Oh, there's that little outhouse down there. But if you just need a little hike when you're camping at the campground, or just want something to do inland from the coast where you just want to get away from that fog or something, this far inland you can sometimes get away from that fog. You know, summertime the fog can roll in pretty thick. And you drive a few miles inland, you get out of that fog bank, and it's sunny and it's hot and beautiful. You know, I definitely enjoy the redwoods in sunny conditions, but the damp conditions are what make the redwoods happen, so it's almost better to be here in the damp conditions. It's what they like. It's when they're thriving and they're at their happiest. Oh, look at these. So that's what I love, is these beautiful, bright green, emerald shimmering colors almost of these fern-covered boulders, or sorry, moss-covered boulders. So pretty. Yeah, and this is where the loop starts. And so I just went the opposite way. That's the wrong way. That's the right way. And I can kind of see why they did it that way. They want you to walk next to the road first and get that over with so you don't end your hike staring at a road. I appreciate that. Oh, it's so pretty here. You just can't get over it. And there's our little parking area. Picnic table. Place to go if you need to go. And one thing I will say is when it's wet out here, it's really slippery. So be careful. Like these walkways can be super slick. So just be careful. One thing I wanted to see again, I came through here earlier. Oh, I don't know if I can get in there now. There's a lot of water. We had an atmospheric river come through and it was just dumping on us for like 4 or 5 days straight. It was really awful. That's why I'm so hyped up about this hike. I had to get out. I couldn't take it anymore. But, I mean, this beautiful green rock. This one over here is just draped over. Look at that. Oh, that's whoa. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Well, it's time to get back to the trailhead and get back to camp and recover from this pretty intense exercise for the first time this year. This is the first hike of the year. And I'm glad I was able to do it. I didn't see anybody on the trail. It was all to me. And if you catch it during the weekday, you might even get it all to yourself as well. And hopefully when you get here, there's some brochures in the trail kiosk for you to actually do the guided walk. There's like a good 15 or so different sites to see. And, you know, you actually end the trail on one of the coolest ones. Let's go up and see it, actually. Let's go up and see it. It's just right up here. I can see why they don't have you walking the trail the way I did it, because you end on this really neat redwood rather than ending on that stretch next to the road, which was kind of gross. Black plastic, piles of cut timber, shimmering stretch of blacktop. Like, yeah, not too naturey. But this is one of those cool things about redwoods. You can find hollow ones, and they're so huge you can go right inside. And the marker here is for number 15. And we have a hollowed out redwood. Looks like hollowed out by fire. It's of course a big one. It's way up there. Nice big one. Let's get inside. You can't help it. If you see a hollow redwood, can you help but go inside it? No. It's obligatory because it's so fun. Makes you feel like a kid again. Gosh, if you had just about put a backpacking tent in here. If you needed a shelter, you could get in here. Yeah, it goes all the way back down in here, all the way around. Really interesting. I can't see how far up it goes because it just turns into blackness. I have no idea how far up there it goes. I don't think very far. I think I might see a little white thing. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Definitely worth taking a quick jaunt. Even if you only go from the trailhead to number 15, you get to see a really cool redwood. You can hang out inside, get your picture taken standing inside a tree. How often do you get to do that? Wow. I love it. I've seen a million hollow redwood trees and they never get old. I've seen a million redwood trees and they never get old. Every single time I look at one, I just can't help but go, wow. Look at how big it is. Look at how high up it goes. And then, of course, you think about all the cool things about redwoods, such as the fact that they clone themselves. All these little smaller ones that shoot up next to them are genetically identical. That's why they call them never-dying redwoods. Because the main one can die, but it'll send up smaller ones that are identical, and it might as well just be the same tree. And live and live and live and live. Oh, wow. Beautiful stuff. And that's about as amazing as the idea of seeing how tiny their seeds are. These itty-bitty little tiny things that grow into these massive trees and live for just centuries and centuries. Amazing stuff. Well, I think that's definitely a good little hike for little old me after so long not doing much of anything. But I definitely want to thank you very, very much for joining me here along the Redwood Nature Trail in the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest. And of course, being winter, after the ants have gone underground for winter, don't have to be worried about them crawling all over me whenever I sit down to take in a view or beautiful scene like this. Wow. Good stuff.